Hi, this is Joe again with another review. For the sake of this review, we're going to be discussing the 2005 film Good Night and Good Luck, starring David Strathairn. I have trouble pronouncing the guy's last name. But this film also stars George Clooney, who also directed the film as well. Of course, this film is based on a true life incident about Edward R. Murrow, who was a reporter for CBS, at the time, and he was fighting with the junior senator from Wisconsin, Joe McCarthy. The whole communist scare back in the early to mid 50s. Of course, Edward R. Murrow was doing constant reports on his show that aired on CBS, because in those days there's no cable at that time, and you only had three major networks. That's how different television was then. You did have news shows then. And Edward R. Murrow was the guy. He really was. It was really underrated. I think in the 60s, early 60s, when mid 60s, I think when Edward R. Murrow passed away. So from lung cancer, I think about 65, 66, he died like a little more than a decade later. But this was the time when he was the guy to go to for major news stories, and that's when television news was starting to become a thing. And Edward R. Murrow started that. Originally, he got his name, or made his mark in broadcast news by broadcasting what was going on in England during World War II, when the Nazis were bombing England. He was constantly reporting that to the world, and he made a name for himself for that. Now it's his television, and there were the days when he didn't have television yet, when World War II was happening. So after World War II, when our television was coming in, especially in the 1950s, he got hired off his reputation from his reports of World War II, and he got a job with CBS. And he became the guy. Of course, he didn't like what was going on with Senator Joe McCarthy with the communist hearings. Now, anybody who disagreed with McCarthy, he called him a communist. And look what we have now. In the Democratic Party, they're all communists in the Democratic Party today. Which is ironic, because I think McCarthy was originally a Democrat. I think. And the funny thing is, I did a report on McCarthyism when I was in high school, so it was kind of ironic. I was interested in the story because of that stupid tube paper I did. So Murrow, there was one particular story about this one guy who was in the Air Force who had to denounce his father and denounce his sister because they just didn't like Senator McCarthy. And all the communist hearings that was going on, so he said so they forced this guy from the Air Force to denounce his father, and if you don't, you're going to be kicked out of the Air Force. And he was kicked out of the Air Force because he wouldn't do it, and then he eventually had to do it so he get back into the Air Force. And so when Murrow heard about it, he said, "Oh, let's do a whole story on this," and of course it became a huge controversy because he did that, and then he started doing report after report after report, week after week after week, for weeks and months on end, about Senator McCarthy and during the hearings, and McCarthy was getting more and more angry and it didn't really show that much because the film was really quite short, it's maybe an hour and 35 minutes. So it's about approximately an hour and a half long, so it's really, really short. And so it didn't really show from McCarthy's point of view of him wanting to get even with Edward R. Murrow and CBS, and it didn't really show that well in the movie how McCarthy wanted to get even, show at least both sides of the story a little bit, but it really didn't do that well. I mean, George Clooney was the one who directed this film. He really didn't do that great of a job in showing both sides of the story. So McCarthy putting all this pressure on CBS to get rid of the fire animal, which was true. He did put pressure on CBS on that. He did pressure, trying to get even with Admiral Moe, and Moe kept claiming that Moe on his show was lying about what he's doing with the Senate committees and all that. But then Moe was showing the actual footage of the Senate hearings on his show, on his program. So he's not. So he kept saying, "Oh, I'm not lying because here's the actual footage of what's going on in the hearings," and he shows what's going on. So it's this old lady would be questioned by the committee. Oh, you a communist? And she said, "No, I'm not a communist. I don't read any of that stuff. I don't know where you're getting all that stuff from." And you see where they were talking to this old lady that wasn't going anywhere. So McCarthy just gets up and walks out in the middle of his own hearing, so Moe was showing all this stuff on his show. It's getting Joe McCarthy angrier and angrier, and then of course McCarthy asked for equal time on Moe's show, and Moe gave it to him, and so sorry, I got a stupid itch back here. It's driving me nuts. And so McCarthy got time on Moe's show, and he completely denied everything that was going on. That Moe was a liar. The thing that Admiral Moe was a communist because it was against them and all this other crazy stuff. And so it got crazy. And then eventually, knowing that Moe was getting awards for his work against McCarthy got censured by the Senate. But unfortunately, the problem was that McCarthy wasn't getting thrown out of the Senate because of his antics. That Moe proved that what's going on with the Senate was total bullshit. Claiming people are communists when they're not. Joe McCarthy is so communist everywhere. I mean, seriously. Is that anybody who disagrees with him, we call him a communist. Basically. Unfortunately, now we've got communists running the United States right now. Not only communists, but socialists running the United States right now. Biden in the White House and AOC running around wearing strapless dresses, going nuts. I mean that's what we got now in the United States. But anyway, you had it back then in the 1950s with these crazy politicians who see. Sorry about this stupid phone's going nuts on me here. But with all this provocation going on with the Senate. But I thought the movie could have been better. Even though the movie was nominated for a bunch of Academy Awards, including Best Actor for David Strathairn, who played Admiral Moe. I thought he did a great job playing Admiral Moe. He had George Clooney for direction and was nominated also for Best Picture. But unfortunately, I think it might have won for the cinematography because it was terrific. But I mean, other than that, it wasn't. The movie could have been better if they showed both sides equally. And then I thought the story was like a bit rushed because the movie was so short. It's only approximately an hour and a half long, so it was quite short. And if it was maybe a half hour, 20 minutes. So they always complain when movies are too long. In case of Good Night and Good Luck, the movie was too short. In my opinion, and I felt like it was a bit rushed because it was so short. And if it was maybe 20 to 30 minutes longer, it might have been a better film. It might have won the Oscar for Best Picture in 2005. But don't forget, I was competing against the Lord of the Rings movies. So it was competing against those movies. So I don't think I think it was like the last one that came out of the Lord of the Rings movies. So this movie had like no chance of winning. But I felt it was like this movie was like way too short. The Lord of the Rings movies were like way too long. Good Night, Good Luck was way too short. And if it came out, like 20 years after the McCarthy McCarthy hearings, I think it would have been, might have won if it came out earlier. Or at least a different decade, closer to the time frame of when the story was fresh in everybody's minds. But coming out like 50 years later, or the movie came out like literally 50 years after the original McCarthy hearings. A lot of people said, "Oh, who's Everett Moore?" Like today, people would say, "Oh, who's Walter Cronkite?" Or who's Dan Mather, or who's Peter Jennings? That type of thing. People would say that today. Like, who are these guys? People want to know what the hell was going on back then, because most people don't know about history, and that's what's sad about it. But I'm saying good night, good luck. I mean, I liked what I saw, but I felt the movie could have been better. I felt it could have been better, in my opinion. So that's my review of the movie Good Night, Good Luck. Please click on the video, please rate it. Please subscribe to my channel, please forward this video to your Facebook pages. You can check all my reviews on my YouTube channel at rallyc.com. It's OWDY, and that's C.com. On the homepage, you reviewer Chris Lee Moore, and please check out all of his videos on his website. Thanks for watching. Catch you next time.